bracket are you currently enjoying?
I'm enjoying my mid 40s.
38, 34, 20. I'll be 24 by September.
My name is Mr. Gustav Agaba.
Nancy Ojinta. Cashman and Lauren Adi.
The skill putting food on my table currently is education.
Acting. Hairstylist.
I'm a doctor, so is that a skill? Well, that's my skill. Yeah, it's a skill actually. But I learned it in school, right? So that is food on my table.
I wish I had learnt skills mostly in the IT, like has to do with programming and web design and all that because there's a lot of opportunities online today that if I had learned skills in IT, I think it should have been a kind of an added feather to my cap.
Well, I don't even think I have any skill. Well, definitely from being a student, you're really busy focusing on the studies, right? But now that I've passed my strong academic years, I'm now got focusing and working. So I'm gonna have to now choose what I want to develop myself in. So now I've learned bicycle riding. I also want to learn how to sew with the sewing machine. Because actually do sew with my hands sometimes, yeah.
It is very possible to get some people giving up because we are in a very difficult terrain. Looking at the business environment now in Nigeria, a lot of youths are frustrated. And I must tell you the truth, to a large extent, you can't blame them. The ruling class seem to, have a very high horse that they do not really make provisions for the less privileged ones, and as such to get even a job most times a lot of graduates are floating out there, so they resort to other things that are social vices that do not add up to the society. For instance, imagine a graduate who has been through school for 4 years, in fact let me say 6 years because strike will eat up 2 years, and your 4 year course making 6 years. You come out, you do your compulsory youth service course, and you come out from youth service and you start hunting for a job. And the labor market can be very very tricky. You may get a job, but the job might be underpaying you, which means you're underemployed. And if the job cannot pay your bill, you get frustrated. Then on the other hand, you look for a job, you don't just get it because everywhere you go to tell you that all the doors are closed up, no vacancy here, no vacancy there, or you may have to look for maybe a godfather somewhere to give you a letter. All those things put together, they are really a bottleneck to the youths of nowadays. So imagine a youth who has gone through school for 6 years, 1 year youth service, the youth come out in the labor market and can't secure a job. He will give up and resort to any other vices that could put food on his table, like robbery, kidnapping, prostitution, and any other thing that he or she feels can maybe put food on my table and give me the kind of life I should live as a graduate.
I have learned how to ride a bicycle. I just learned that in the last few months in this park precisely. So that bicycle learning I'm riding has helped me to achieve my fitness goal of trying to watch my weight and generally the more fit. Yeah.
I learning how to ride a bicycle.
My advice is procrastinating is a sin. And very unfortunate. When you have something in mind, the earlier you go for it, the better. Because the opportunity could come the next moment for you to make use of that skill. And imagine that you go for a job interview, and in that job interview they are asking you whether you know French. And about 2 times behind, you have in mind to learn that skill. So what if you are learning it? You will have fit into that job at that skill. So it's still time safely. So as much as you have in your mind to learn a skill, do it that moment. Don't allow anything to stop you. Don't allow anything to delay you. And of course, you don't have regrets.
I know not everybody has the skill to be an entrepreneur or like a business person, but somehow you can always find what you really have some joy in. So maybe just digging deep and try to understand yourself. Who are you? But definitely we will not all learn the same thing, right? So what is it that you are good at and what you have interest in? You can try to make that into, I mean, like taking your hobby now become like an income. Yes, yeah, it's an income for you. Yeah, that's my advice.
I think we're doing many things right, and we're doing many things not right. There are many, for me, there are more things that we aren't doing than the things we're doing. And that speaks to where we find ourselves at this point in time. My generation and the generation before me has left a lot of gaps. And these gaps have a direct consequence on the so-called on the youths of today. These things don't fall from heaven. There is a dearth of knowledge. We have departed from skills development over time. So people have either looked at it as something that's not too good, doesn't have the right status symbol, and we have all not learned properly how to make money. And at the base of anything, whether it's making money for yourself, as an entrepreneur, small scale, or whether you are part of a larger system, there is nothing like industrial development without the skills base. And unfortunately, you could remark, for instance, in the construction industry in Nigeria, which is they say that construction is the barometer with which you measure growth. So you can always look at either an increase in building or a decrease in building, and that tells you whether the economy is growing or not, because that addresses the fundamental needs that we all have. Now, talk about that construction industry. You want to have anything decent done for you when you set out to build a house. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. There's a demand. That demand is somebody who wants to build a house, which is a demand. What do? They go to neighboring countries to date. We go to Ghana, we go to Benin Republic, we go to Togo to recruit people that can do decent POP work, to recruit people that do proper plumbing, to recruit people that do all manner of things connected with the construction industry. And why do we go to recruit them? Because there is a demand. And these people will recruit anybody who has had to bring in people, workers, to do any of these things, realize how much you pay, for these things. What stops Nigerians with such a population, with such a young population particularly, to take advantage, tap into this, and provide the skills? Why would a population of over 200 million people be going to another population of less than 20 million or 10 million to get skills, and then turn around and complain that there isn't enough employment for their youth? We talk about skills of employment. So the issue has to be addressed, but let's move away from what the states can do for us, what government can do for us. If we learn, for instance, that there is no shame, there is nothing absolutely wrong in being a plumber, in being a mechanic, in being just whichever one you decide to do it well. If you do it well, you can ask for your price. And whichever price you ask for gives you decent earning to earn a livelihood. And you would find out that there is more to life than just dressing in formal ways and going to an office to sit for some hours and go home idle without doing anything. So the space is empty, literally empty, because even when we find the mechanics, everybody has the same complaint. So what do we end up seeing? We see Lebanese who come into our country, set up mechanic workshop, end up employing Nigerian mechanics who work for them. The Lebanese, what do? They simply provide structure. They provide a structure, a disciplined structure that is predictable, that is client responsive. You follow up on a contract, you take a job, you make sure you do the job, and you deliver on the job. As simple as that. There is nothing extra they're doing. So why can't we do that? Why can't we be the ones developing these mechanic workshops? Why can't our mechanics learn it to the end? Why don't we, if they can't do it by themselves, why does government, or non-governmental agencies come up with, a partnership program that takes these people by the street or from the streets, take them by the hand and help them with the theoretical knowledge that is required, to be able to be either good mechanics or good plumbers or good POP people and the rest of it, so that they can command the price and get a market. There is a market out there, but that market we are not exploiting because we don't have the foundation required to be able to take advantage of the demand. So, skills, skills, skills. It is time to even refocus our educational system from the typical conventional, I'm studying this and I'm studying that, to let's go and acquire the basic skills we need to even be able to build these disciplines that we're talking about. You cannot have an engineering firm if you don't have the technicians, that are able to read diagrams, that are able to translate whichever design the engineer develops. And this is also affecting even the attraction of direct foreign investment. In other words, for a company to come from whichever country and come and set up shop in our country, if we talk about having a skill or a labor which is cheap, it's not about cheap labor. It is about requisite labor that has the requisite skills. So if a Chinese company comes here, why wouldn't they not bring all the Chinese people here to do the work for them? If they know that they're not going to find the people here with the requisite skills to do the job for them. So at the end of the day, we end up attracting these companies here, but they end up filling these jobs, which are middle and low income jobs. They fill it with their own nationals, expatriates. So we lose out at all fronts. So it's time to go do the homework, and the homework is skills, whatever you call it. Be a good mechanic, be a good carpenter, be a good furniture maker, be a good plumber, whichever one you do and you do properly, you will be able to earn a decent living and cater for yourself and your family. And that is all it takes. And it is so simple as ABC. But this simple thing, like they say, common sense isn't common. But we have to go back to it. We want it, we go to do it. And there is nothing else, there is no other way to develop a country other than equipping the people with the requisite skill set to actually be able to be active in the labor market and take advantage of the opportunities that are available. So, broadly speaking, that is my advice.
Well, for the younger ones now, who are coming up, um, the labor market is getting, I think, too choked up with graduates, with almost the same thing like what everyone has, first degree on paper without any skills added to it. So to be able to stand out, from in the labor market, you need to put up or maybe go for an extra skills that you can make a difference, because in the labor market out there, employers are looking for what you can add, to their company, not then the normal paperwork where you come in with your first degree, slot it into a file, and no skills to show. That means no value to add to the company. So I think for the younger ones now, my advice for them is they should go for more skills, most especially in their area of studies, so they could add more value to themselves.
I think I'm a Christian, so what I say is not overriding for other religions, but I think there is always a similarity across religious beliefs. In Christianity, you say that the kingdom lies within. There is always a tendency for everybody to think that the promised land is far away. That is the driving force to people that go, the so-called Jaffa syndrome at the foundation of it. Of course, you have the issue of failures in society that has not addressed adequately, the needs of the youths and all that. But more deeper to this is the fact that we find it difficult to see that around us there are opportunities. There are opportunities that are sometimes even a lot much more bold than what we're looking for, far beyond. Okay, and you ask people like me who had to come back after over 2 decades of sojourn, living in the mainstream of Europe. Why? Because ask yourself the question: all the expatriates you find in your country, where do they come from? They don't come for tourism. They come here. There is no tourism in Nigeria, per se. Okay, so all the tourists that you see, if you talk about tourism, you're talking about business people. All these people are business people, and for people to come here, leave their countries and leave their families and come here, it means there is something here. If there isn't something here, why would they be coming? Board and Lufthansa fly from Frankfurt coming to whether you're going to Lagos or you're going to Abuja. You know, 85% to 90% of all the passengers who fly on flight are white people. Why? What are they coming here to do? If there were nothing. Okay, so it's beyond these things that we talk about in the papers. Yes. I'll give you an instance. In my area, the field of agriculture, I produce for export. So I export currently. I export to Amsterdam, I export to London, and I export to the United Arab Emirates. Beautiful. Anybody would say. I also export some things to Italy, south of Europe. And I had an experience. I was to export pineapples, and in one during one export trip, because of issues with customs and a lot of rest, we ended up losing 2 containers, 240-foot containers. These are not normal containers, you can imagine. So the cost of freight and everything, but this is not the point. The point is, because of this particular problem that we had, we were forced to also look within and look at the domestic market and look at the opportunities and the prospects. So we opened our doors and windows and we marketed. We went to the market. We looked at the platforms we have, not necessarily supermarket, because our market is the open market. So we went to the open market and we tried to win them customers and the rest of it. And it would surprise you that at the next harvest, we had people that we would call in quote local women who had lumps of money. They came and bought, one lady bought one whole 40-foot container of pineapples at a price that was higher than even the export price. And remember that when you export, the cost of packaging, for instance, is a very, very determining cost. It's a significant cost factor you have. When you sell to the local market, this cost falls off. So, long story short, it was clear through this issue we had in trying to export to Italy that eventually there was a demand, and this demand was capable, financially capable, to obtain, and they obtook. So, in other words, if you know how to make money, and you know how to do it very well, and you know how to also showcase your talents. Look, every good product sells itself. The first series of Mercedes Benz that were built were never advertised. In the 60s of Mercedes Benz production, what we call today flat hood Mercedes, the flat hood Mercedes was never advertised by Mercedes Benz. It was sold by word of mouth. Somebody buys and tells some other person how beautiful the car was, and the next person went to buy. In other words, we see it till today. If you have somebody who has come to do work in your house, they're a plumber or is a carpenter, and you did good work, you go out of your way to find the same person again. If there are somebody who is a technician, an electrician, who did a good job, you go out of your way to find them again. In other words, they are not marketing themselves. You, on the basis of the strength and quality of work you do, professionalism of your work, you go out to look for them again. So, look, the kingdom also lies within. That is not to say that you can, humanity has the chance to reach out to the skies, wherever they find the skies to be. So I'm not one of those people that say people shouldn't travel. If they feel their own promised land is elsewhere, they can explore. And then when they go there and if they meet their promised land, directly or indirectly, it's also to the advantage of our system. Because one way or the other, we feel the impact of their travels. And those who travel and go there and don't meet the promised land, maybe some of them come back. And when they do, they have at least had the privilege of having an interfacing with another culture and bringing home something. And mostly, that exposure they bring back is the structure, the discipline. That is what we need. The attitude, the right attitude. If we have the right attitude, we are not dumb people, everybody knows, but we don't have the right attitude. And that is the thing that we get in that cross-cultural exchange. We give them something, we give something home. And what I know that I learned in all my years of study in Africa is making that attitude a part of me. It's become a part of me. I guess that's just what makes me get my prize in the market. It's the attitude. I have today, that attitude that we go to shop for when we say I want an espresso to work for you. When you encounter somebody like me, and you meet somebody who's got that attitude, but who can localize with it, because I've seen it happen here. So, going abroad is a part of the story, but those that decide to stay should also search more and search deeper. And everybody should be self-critical enough to hold out the mirror to themselves and say, this is what I'm not doing right. The problem we have as a society is that we're a repetitive society and we don't listen. Nobody's listening. Everybody's talking. And when we listen more, then we will all find out what the faults in each and every one of us is, what we're doing wrongly. And the moment we're able to correct a few of these things that we're doing wrongly, we hit our promised land in no time. And we don't have to search for it so far. The Bible says the kingdom lies within. And I believe in it. It lies within. If it didn't lie within, tell me what all those Air France and Lufthansa flights loaded with that. Tell me what all the Emirates flights that come from Dubai, bringing all the Chinese people and the rest of them coming into our country. What are they trying to do if they were not? Definitely, there is also paradise within us. We also have to begin to shop for that paradise the way foreigners shop for it. And the simple thing to find the paradise is to change our attitude. Our attitude to work is sick. We don't know what it means to earn. To earn means to work and deserve it. That is the meaning, the interpretation, the language interpretation of what does it mean to earn. It means to work and deserve it. If you work at the end of the month, you get your salary. You don't need to thank anybody for that salary because you earned it. You deserve it. You can walk away with your chest because it's your money. And there is no other way it's made other than by earning it. That's how billionaires are made. It's made from the strength of the ideas. Work, have the idea, have a vision, work to achieve your idea. In that process, it's a dynamic process. In that process, you don't have to get into supposed plans, but the truth is, anytime you look back and count the blessings, you realize that you made incredible progress. And this goes for our youths, it goes for people of my generation, it goes for people that are older than me. Our general attitude to life, something is basically, something is wrong with my life. And these things are far-fetched. They're there. We just need to hold out our mirrors to each and every one of us and see the ugly duckling. Everybody sees the ugly duckling and not look into the mirror and say, oh, look at how handsome I am today. Try and find out what you don't like about yourself and work on that. And that makes you get the leap that all of us need. And if each and every one of us does this as a collective, automatically, we move forward. These things don't fall from heaven. Everybody has to contribute to this. And when we do, we all collectively make progress. Bad government does not originate from the people. These are things that bite each other. If we complain genuinely. I am not saying we are bad government, don't get me wrong. But if we're complaining genuinely that there's something wrong with our government, as far as I'm concerned, it means there's something wrong with us. And if you want something better, all of us get on it and do something better, improve ourselves. And then the sum total of what we get, either in form of our leadership, in form of whatever, will automatically be better. Good never comes out from evil. If we were good, we will experience good at every form, every level. So the weaknesses we find in our society today, it's just a reflection of the totality of who we are. Because at every level, everybody comes from home, everybody has friends, everybody comes from village, and everybody has somebody who knows them very well. So it means that Mr. President is somebody's son. He's from the family, he is from a village, people that know him very well. And if that village were to do everything with beauty, goodness, and wisdom, then we should take it for granted that Mr. President is going to be an epitome of beauty too. This is not to say whether the president is an epitome of beauty or not, but it's just people can extrapolate and decide for themselves the point I'm making. But as far as I'm concerned, we all need to work on each and every individual because we are what we have and what we become and who we are is a sum totality of all of us collective action. First of all, as individuals, perform a bigger scope, which is a collective whole society. So everybody has work to do, including me. Let us all be the best we can be for ourselves, each and every one of us. If you're a tailor, try being the best tailor and you will see how you make money out of that. They say that the art of becoming a millionaire or billionaire is about sporting a niche in the market and developing a monopoly over it. Now, simply put, what it says, if you break it down, what it says is simply is, if you're a tailor and you're able to develop a niche of becoming a very good one, a very good tailor is a niche. That's what it means. Automatically, you have a monopoly over very good tailor. Sure. And you can command your price.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have a philosophy personally, and that philosophy is that winners never quit, and of course, quitters never win. There is nothing as good as persistency in whatever you do. It's like someone wants to bring down a wall, and is given a hammer. At the first strike of that wall, it might seem as if nothing is happening, but I tell you that that wall has been weakened. That's why when you hit it the second time, it keeps getting weaker and weaker until the last straw that will bring down the wall. That's the same thing in, when you're in the labor market, job hunting, just don't give up. Because the time you may give up may just be at the time when, your breakthrough may just be around the corner. So for the youths of nowadays who are thinking of giving up, my advice for you is, we all know our terrain is tough, but still do not give up. Keep striving. Whatever your hands find to do it. If it means doing a job that is not paying you what you expect the job should pay you, stay on it while you're improving yourself, and go for a higher job, because nowadays experience in the labor market counts a lot. Now, anywhere you're going to look for a job, they'll ask you number of years of experience. And if you say, I haven't got any experience, then you're wishing yourself out of a job. But if you say, look, I've gotten an experience, maybe I've done a freelancing here, I've done a freelancing there, you could even freelance or do a volunteer for a company. Say, you know what, let me volunteer to be your salesman. Since you said no vacancy, if I bring in sales, you pay me commission for the sales I bring. That's also something. You could do commission sales for maybe insurance companies, even banks. and all these other corporate institutions around, telecom companies. There are lots of other avenues where you can make yourself, useful by putting in your skills. As long as you can communicate well as a graduate, go out there, face the world. There's always that fear of that there's a lion on the street, so people are scared to go out. Don't be scared. There is no lion on the street. A lot of people have taken the bull by the horn and they've made their mark, out there. Great men do not necessarily look great, but they start from somewhere. It's from where you start that's where your greatness begins from. And do not undermine the little beginnings, because the little beginnings is that drop of water you're doing that eventually turn out to be an ocean full for you. But we still need to keep striving harder and harder, keep making more effort. If you've been interviewed somewhere and you've been given a negative feedback, go back again, keep trying, move on to somewhere else, keep trying, keep applying for jobs. Don't just sit down in one spot and give yourself an excuse that the government is not caring.
So you guys, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Nobody, no one, not even you will eat from excuses. Get up, learn something new. If you go, you fail, you keep trying until you get the answer you're looking for. Don't give up. Learn something today. Thank you.